Hey folks, it's time for my 6-month review of my Bikeberry ZEDA BBR Tuning 26-inch motorized bicycle. I bought this in October of last year, I believe. Anyway, I've been riding it for about 7 months straight now, pretty regularly. I've probably got close to 1,000 miles on it. I've had a few issues, but none of them have really been with the motor. Most of it has just been with the bike, so I'll probably be going over a few of those things. Make sure you check out my previous video about updates and issues. I made some changes to the bike since I got it since then, and this is just kind of a recap after about 6-7 months of riding it. So I'm going to go ahead and do some maintenance and show you some things about it, and let's get started.
Okay, the first thing I want to check are the clutch pads. I got these clutch pads off gasbike.net and they squeak really bad, but they're supposed to be high temp clutch pads and I'm wondering if that's why. And this is the screw I had to file down so the screw head would fit in these little dips here. Because yeah, you don't want to put a replacement screw in there and then have it overhang on this and pull this to one side, because it'll cause it to warp just a little bit. So something you should know. Alright, well, that's smooth. Take a look at these. Yeah, it's obvious why they squeak. They glaze real easy. But I tell you what, in about 5 months of riding, they have not worn down. If I could find a way to get these to stop squeaking, it'd be great. I've tried filing them, cleaning the clutch surfaces, but nothing seems to work. It just squeaks as I engage the clutch. I mean, it's fine after it's engaged, it's fine. And the surfaces of the clutch seem alright. Not seeing too much wear there. So that's just something I wanted to look at and check. I just wanted to make sure it was working okay. Alright, so not really any warp or wobbling here, which is good. So now it's time to just put a little bit of grease in here. Okay, got some sag going on here. Much better. All right. I've been getting some messages from people who despise these tensioners. I had the regular tensioner that's just got the wheel right here and broke a chain with that. I had suspected that it just the body can't flex without putting too much stress on the chain. And it happened while I was, I guess like going downhill with the engine engaged. Might have done something to it, and then I had the engine disengaged, and I think I was just riding or something. No, I was just riding like usual, and I just lost power, and the chain had fallen off somewhere on the road. So I got an industrial strength chain and one of these tensioners, and I've been riding this for a few months now without any problems, so I'm just going to leave that. And this is rubbing on the tire, so I got to lower it. And these are some new brake pads, and they just haven't lasted very long. I picked them up for like $1.50, so I knew they wouldn't last long. I just didn't know they would die that quickly. There we go. And these are the Goodyear tires, and you can see the tread on these. Lasted about 5 months too, and it's a really good tread on these Goodyear tires. Thanks a lot to that guy who suggested to me on Facebook to use these kinds of tires. They're good quality tires for the price. I paid like $20 for the pair. So, yeah. I like Schwalbe tires, but they're expensive, really expensive. So you pay like 3 times more for a Schwalbe tire. Alright, I'll need to check that at some point. I don't know. It doesn't look bad. I mean, it's about 6 months old. So, and it still runs really well. Is this a rod? Yeah, that's a rod. I hate those. Well, nothing melted. I don't know, that looks in pretty good shape. I mean, yeah, I got a little bit of marks on the side, but someone told me that turning this, when you first buy it, pulling out the spark plug and turning it was a really bad idea. So I was a little concerned, but it's been running great. I'm not seeing anything really bad there. Alright, well, I've got a visual record of this. So I can get opinions in the comments section, I'm sure. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, these get torqued at 15 pounds. So alright. make sure it still runs. Still runs. This muffler is not in the best of shape, and not because they wear out fast, but the chrome anyway. It's just I would cover this with a tarp, and sometimes the tarp would fall on here. So the trick I learned was after I'd been riding it for a bit to take something to scrape the residue off. It was pretty black right here, so I cleaned it off a little bit. Alright, grease the chain. I'll probably hit that with some spray-on lithium grease. I like using that stuff. Sticks well, lubes well. Okay, front brakes are a little squishy. Go ahead and tighten those up some. That's good. This caliper, I'm really disappointed in it. To begin with, Bikeberry doesn't sell the pads that go with this. I got these on eBay. They weren't too expensive. I think I got a pair of them for around $5 or something like that. But they're not as good as the ones that originally came with it. The ones that came with it are kind of a harder material. This is kind of soft. I don't know how long these are going to last. But I don't know if it's the pad or if this brake is wearing out, because it seems like over time I have to tighten it up a little bit more. And I don't think it has anything to do with the pad. I think that these are just... Anyway, I had listened or read a comment. Someone had suggested I get rid of this and replace it with something better. And that may be a direction I'll have to go, because I don't trust this. When I first started riding, I mean, you're doing, close to 30 miles an hour, at least on this. It's, I rarely go over 30 because it's just a stock motor. But sometimes I got to slow down quick, I mean, you're in traffic, and I don't need this thing going out on me. And I have to rely so much on these rear ones that they wear down a little faster than I'd like. I'm already due for another set, and I bought these a couple weeks ago. These are also on eBay. There's a bike shop near here that sells some for a pretty good price that last a little bit longer, so I'll probably have to get more of those. But I just grabbed these on eBay because I was buying disc brakes, and I thought I'd get a couple of back pads as well. And they just don't last that long. The rubber's almost already gone on them. Anyway, I'm not going to go over anything I went over in the last video. Just make sure you watch the previous video. Updates and issues. I go over a few things there. This is just kind of a checkup to see how things are going after, actually it's been about 7 months. It still rides real strong. It's got good power, and it's been pretty reliable. At least the motor has been. Everything else I kind of have to figure out as I go, and what's good, what's not good. So I wouldn't exactly call this a bike that was planned and thought out real well before they put it together and sold it. For the most part, this has been a very reliable bike. I've had to deal, like I said, with issues just with the bicycle itself. The motor hasn't given me any trouble. The only time it did give me trouble is when the head bolts came loose after I bought it. Obviously, you're supposed to tighten them down 15 pounds. I didn't do that, so that's been handled. All things considered, I like the way it rides. I love the gas tank that's built in. It seems to be pretty smooth, not a lot of excess vibration. This thing is not worth the money. I think I paid like $13 for it on eBay. It's made out of a low-grade aluminum. It's starting to crack in certain places right here. You can see that. Yeah, and so I'm going to replace it with a better one. I like the design, but I'm going to replace it with something a little bit better. A little headlight video I did was clamps. I always recommend clamps from a hardware store. Do not get them from the dollar store. Dollar store clamps don't last long at all. Just had this break and then the light fly off into the road. So not doing anything with the carburetor right now. I switched out the carburetor about 6 months ago. It's been running fine. At some point I'd like to take it apart and clean it up, but I'm not going to do that now. I just wanted to check inside the head, clean up the chain, make sure all the basic stuff was okay. I was definitely curious about the clutch pads because they do squeak. They haven't worn down, and the clutch surfaces seem to be okay too. So they would be perfect pads if they didn't squeak. I've tried filing it down, sanding down the surfaces, and it lasts like 10 minutes, and then it's squeaking again. So they glaze fast.
Okay, so for the most part, it seemed like everything was in pretty good shape. About the only thing I noticed was that my rear wheel had moved forward a little bit, causing some slack in the chain, so I pulled that back a little bit. The clutch pads surprised me. I knew that they would be in good shape. The fact that they squeak told me that they probably don't grab right, or they glaze real easy, so I knew they would probably be in good shape. They're supposed to be high temperature clutch pads, but I don't know what it is that's causing them to squeal like that other than the glazing, and I don't know how to prevent that. I've tried sanding the clutch surfaces. I've tried filing down the pads themselves, sanding down the pads themselves. Nothing has really worked, and I'm not sure what to do. If anyone has an idea, I wouldn't mind hearing about it in the comments section. The brakes are another issue. I think those brakes, the front brakes, might be starting to wear out. I just put a lot of pressure on those brakes sometimes. I mean, you drive around in traffic, you have to stop all of a sudden. So that's something I'm going to have to look into figuring out how to solve. I'm not sure if it's because the new pads that I'm using aren't as hard as the original pads that came with it. The original pads seem a little bit more metallic than the new pads, and I haven't been able to find the original pads. Bikeberry doesn't sell them, so I had to buy them from a third party on eBay. Everything else has been fine. It gets good gas mileage. It runs really smooth. That's about it, though. I guess I'll probably in another 3 months or so, unless something unusual happens, I'll be doing another review. And I'll probably do it for the next year. All in all, it's been a pretty good bike. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, click the subscribe button as I do videos on a regular basis. Also, consider supporting this channel by clicking the Patreon link below. Every little bit helps, even $1 a month, and I'd really appreciate it if you did. Take care and have a good day.